Shalom, everyone. Shalom, shalom. Welcome to this video from justaword.org. Today we are looking at a video with a difference. This video is part of a blog post that I'm doing based on Jeremiah 14 verse 1. And this video will deal with Deuteronomy 29. Okay, so let me rewind. The post that I'm doing is based on, let me share the verse. Isaiah 14:1. For Yahuwah will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Israel. So the topic of the blog post is, and the strangers shall be joined with them. What does this mean? And this is essential because several religions base their premise on the fact that all are one. The Most High is the Elohim of everybody, Elohim of the whole world. And Christians base their premise on everyone being equal. Therefore, the Gentiles that accept the Messiah, they are equal. The same for those in the sacred name movement. Every religion, all right, has to say this because religions are based on control and on numbers. They are not necessarily based on truth. So in order to get everyone to come in, they have to have an all-inclusive menu. And what we are going to show is the true meaning of, and the strangers shall be joined with them. All right? And we don't even have to go far from verse 1 to see what will be the fate of the strangers who are joined with them. Because there are people who believe that the strangers joined with them, it means, yes, they are now one. This is the inspiration for me doing this, because there is a brother of mine that used to attend a former churchianity assembly, an assembly, sacred name assembly, that does not call themselves Christians, but they do not know in effect that they are actually Christians, calling themselves by sacred names, all right? Because this all-inclusive Elohim is not the Elohim of Israel. I did a video, and the post is on my website, on our website, justaword.org, and it looks at who is God and shows 19 differences between the Elohim of Israel and the Elohim of Christianity. And the sacred namers are very similar to the Christians in the terms that their Elohim have many of the 19, some of the 19 attributes. And one of the attributes it doesn't have is being the Elohim of Israel. The sacred name Elohim is the Elohim of everyone. And of course, if you go into depth, you would know that that Elohim, God, is the God of this world. And 2 Corinthians 4:4 tells you that it is the deceiver himself who is the Elohim, or the God of this world, who has deceived everyone as he strives to be. I think it's in this 14. Yes, same 14. Yeah, he strives to be like the Most High. And so his sons have translated the scriptures, taken out the name of the Elohim of Israel and translated in God and the Lord, of course, with different attributes from the Elohim that is in the Bible. And that God or the Lord, of course, is Baal. Of course, it is the enemy of our souls. But not to digress, those posts are on the Just a Word website. Let us go back to the topic. You don't have to go far to see what will happen to the strangers who join themselves to Israel. Don't have to go far to realize that the strangers will not be the same as Israel. They will not be Israelite. They will not be um, receive the same inheritance or have the same rules as Israelites in the kingdom. Verse 2 says, and the people speaking about the Israelites, shall take them being the strangers, always a separation between the strangers and Israel, and bring them to their place, bring them to Zion, and the house of Israel shall possess them. The house of Israel shall possess the strangers who join themselves to Israel. Possess here means to own. Shall possess, shall own them in the land of Yahuwah. And this shows that it is not, it is the will of Yahuwah after he has gathered his people, that it will be his land, and the strangers shall be for servants and handmaids. They shall be slaves, servants of the children of Israel, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. Right. And this is very important, taking them captive, whose captives they were. Because if we go to Revelation 14, 13, 10, let's go there. Revelation 13, 10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. Now, what this verse is telling us is it is very telling, because when the Messiah gave Yahukanan, or gave John, this message in Chizayon, Revelation 1, he said to him, very importantly, saying, I am Alpha and Omega, the first and the last. And what thou seest, write in a book and send it to the 7 assemblies which are in Asia. No, this is not what I want. This. I want to see the reason. The reason that he gave it. Instructed him to write it so that. Oh, yes, verse 19. This is very important. Revelation 13:10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. The Messiah gave us the importance of it when he said in verse 19 of Revelation 1, write the things which thou hast seen, and the things which are, and the things which shall be there hereafter. So when he said in Revelation 13:10, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity, he was speaking of the future end time, right? When he will come and redeem his people. And those who had his people in captivity shall go into captivity. So if we go back now to Yeshayahu, or Isaiah 14:21, because those who led us into captivity, for example, the slave trade, these people are all dead, and they have not paid for their sins. Why? They left this earth wealthy, and they left their wealth to their children, who are enjoying the wealth up to this day. All right? They have not been brought into captivity. But let's see who will go into captivity in verse 21. To get this precept, prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers. This is a precept. Revelation 13:10, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. is speaking of the children of those who led into captivity. So for the slave trade, it will be the descendants of those who led the children of Israel into captivity. Prepare slaughter for the children for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. So this slaughter that is prepared for them and the captivity that is prepared for them is that they do not rise up again. Very important. Now, now that we've laid that foundation, right, that um, the strangers will be in captivity, we will just continue to show, because we are going to look at, yes, strangers will go into captivity. Yes, strangers will be punished. But what about those who are in Messiah? What about those who accept the Messiah? Will they be exempt? Will they be accepted? Will they now share along with the children of Israel, be equal with the children of Israel? That is what we're looking for today. Will they be equal, as Christianity and churchianity says? That it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're Israelite. What does it matter? What does it profit me? It doesn't matter if you're an Israelite. We're all one. There's no more Jew nor Greek. There's no, we shall see today. All right? Just follow me, just stay with us, and we shall see. So we go to Shemot 12:38 to establish Shemot, or Exodus 12:38, to establish that strangers can join themselves to Israel. We have to establish that because there are some, especially in the Hebrew Israelite community, who refuse to accept that strangers will join themselves to Israel. And let me just tell you that just a word is non-religious. We are not an organized religion, because we have realized that the word of Yahuwah cannot be contained in a religion. The way of truth is the way of a people, the way of life of a people through obedience to his Torah and to his Son. That is what we have found. It is not in obedience to man and his established religions. So our belief cuts across all religions. And so when we speak, all religions will be accepted. The sword will strike across every organized religion. People who put labels on themselves, calling them this and we are that. Alrighty? We are a people. We are Israelites. Yes, we are Hebrews. We are Israelites. But I would not put a label on myself and call myself a Hebrew Israelite, because then I will now be subjected to the teachings of those who say they are Hebrew Israelites. And there is much more. The Hebrew Israelites have a lot of truth, but also there is a lot that they will not accept because of their religion and because of the zeal to get recompense from the enemy. And the teachings of the organizations have to be shared among each other. So, and to get a revelation now that hurts the organization, that is going to be very difficult to accept. So this is why we don't follow any organized religion. So let's look at Shemot 12:38 and see that, and a mixed multitude went up also with them. All right? Because what we want to establish, first of all, establish that the truth of what we are going to prove here today is found in Torah. And if we go to Hebrews 10 verse 1, Abram 12 verse 1, just want the first sentence to establish a precedence. For the law having a shadow of good things to come, and not the very image of the things. All right? The law has a shadow of good things to come, and not the very image. In other words, the law actually shows us what is to come, but it does not show us the exact, it does not manifest what it shows us exactly in this time. All right? So what it shows us will be manifested differently, not the very image. All right? And so we go back to Shemot 12:38. And a mixed multitude went up also with them, and flocks and herds, even very much cattle. So this was establishing when the children of Israel left Mitzrayim or Egypt, a mixed multitude went up with them. Different people from different nations. All right? And when they were in the wilderness and they were given Torah, in verse 49, Most High gave instructions and said, One law shall be to him that is homeborn, and unto the stranger that sojourneth among you. One law shall be to him. So the person who believes that everyone will be equal will say, oh, one law. That means all are equal. Because this has been given to me, spoken to me by someone who uses scripture to say, hey, they are equal, one law. However, you have to dig deeper, all right, beyond this pronouncement, right? That even though there is one law, there are limitations for the strangers. If you notice in scripture, it always says the stranger that sojourneth among you. The stranger can only sojourn, no matter how long the stranger is there. The stranger can only sojourn among the Israelites. They cannot be one with the Israelites, meaning they cannot become Israelites. And this is pronounced in Nehemiah 13 verse 3. Nehemiah 13 verse 3. Where's Nehemiah? Oh, 13 verse 3. Now it came to pass when they had heard the law that they separated from Israel all the mixed multitude. This here shows without a doubt that within the law there are provisions for differences between the mixed multitude and Israel. They cannot become Israelites. There is always a separation. They are always sojourning among Israel. Right? When they heard the law, had heard the law, that means the mixed multitude were among them all the time. But as soon as they heard the law, they had to make the separation. Right? So the stranger joining themselves to Israel, there is still a separation. They can sojourn, they can cleave to Israel, but they will still be a separation. And for that, we will give a few evidence and use some precepts to show definitively that strangers who join themselves to Israel, who sojourn among Israel, that they remain separate from Israel. They cannot become Israelites. All right? And let's go to Vayikra 1934, Leviticus 19:34. But the stranger that dwelleth with you shall be unto you as born among you, and you shall love him as thyself, for ye were strangers in the land of Mitzrayim. I am Yahuwah, your Elohim. All right? So this now sounds that yes, he shall be unto you as one born among you, and ye shall love him as yourself, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. Strike, they would say, this means that they are one. There's no difference between strangers and Israelites. Let's go to Leviticus 22:10 and see. There shall no stranger eat of the holy thing. Right away here we see a difference. Right away we see a difference. This stranger now that shall be as one born among the children of Israel, and that you shall love as yourself, he cannot eat of the holy thing. Let's go over it. There shall no stranger eat of the holy thing, none. A sojourner of the priest or an hired servant shall not eat of the holy thing. Limitation. Let's go to verse 25. Neither from a stranger's hand shall ye offer the bread of your Elohim of any of these. Right? So, another limitation again. Stranger cannot offer the bread of Elohim. Limitations. And here's the reason. Because their corruption is in them, and blemishes be in them, they shall not be accepted for you. No. What kind of a corruption is in them? The Apostle Shaul told us further down that the things that the Gentiles sacrifice is sacrificed to devils. All right? And if we go now to Devarim 7 verse 6, we see that it says their corruption is in them and blemishes be in them, but we see who are holy unto Yahuwah. Verse 6, for thou art an holy people unto Yahuwah thy Elohim. That means there is no blemish in them. Because Yahuwah thy Elohim hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. So this is why you have the limitations for the strangers. Israel were chosen to be special, to be holy, without blemish unto him, above everyone else that is upon the face of the earth. So the blemish is naturally in the strangers. And if we go to Psalms, what is it? 58:3, I think. Let me see if my memory serves me well. 58:3. Yes. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. Okay? So this is why there are blemishes in them. Because from they were born, they have gone astray. And because of that, they will lead the children of Israel astray. So when we get into Devarim 29, Deuteronomy 29, when we, to the meat of the matter, we will see that this reason was also repeated, that their iniquity is in them and that they would corrupt the children of Israel. Which is why in the end time, the strangers in the kingdom will be those who are followers of the Messiah. All right? Because we shall see. Let me not jump the gun. So we go to Leviticus 22:25. So now, let's also go now to Shemot 19:5-6. Exodus 19:5-6. Remember, we are proving today what will happen to the strangers, those who believe in the Messiah in the kingdom in the end time. Exodus 19:5-6. Now therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed, this is addressed to the children of Israel. Now therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure upon unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. So if is a condition, we Israel obeys his voice and Israel keeps his commandment, then Israel will be a peculiar treasure unto him above everyone in the earth. All people are not created equal. This is a promise only to Israel. All right, as I said, all people are not created equal. I have a series of posts on the website, 3 of them, in fact, based on the question, did quote unquote God create us equal? All right. Now you need to check that out to see that he created one people special above all people. Without a doubt, scriptures say it. Because you will find that what scripture says is not necessarily what religion says. And so I will be here talking and making certain pronouncements, and people say, oh, this guy's crazy. Oh, he doesn't know. He doesn't. But it's religion that has changed the word. What we speak here, precepts upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little, will back it. All right? So he says that if we obey his voice and keep his covenant, then there will be a special treasure above all people, for all the earth is his. Now, verse 6 says, and ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and an holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. Now, this verse is very important. This is where we get 1 Peter 2, verse 9, and ye are a royal priesthood. And Christians are saying, oh, we are a royal priesthood. Right? We shall see now what it actually means. Because remember, we just showed that strangers cannot be priests. Strangers cannot offer up the holy things. So if strangers cannot offer up the holy things, and he's saying that these are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel, it is telling us directly that only the children of Israel can be priests. Want you to follow me. Let me retract and go to Leviticus 22:10. I made that point, but I have to retract to make sure that you actually get this point. Leviticus 22:10 again. 22:10. There shall no stranger eat of the holy thing. A sojourner of the priest or an hired servant shall not eat of the holy thing. So the stranger cannot be priest. Verse 25. Neither from the stranger's hand shall ye offer the bread of your Elohim of any of these, because their corruption is in them and blemishes be in them, they shall not be accepted for you. So the stranger cannot be holy unto Yahuwah. He cannot offer up anything in the temple as a priest. So when it says, ye shall be a kingdom of priests unto me, it is speaking of the children of Israel. So when we see this verse, but ye are a chosen generation, and we know that only Israel are his chosen, right? A royal priesthood. This is not speaking of the strangers. The strangers cannot be priests, right? I have a post on my website, am I a priest? Why the Gentiles cannot be priests? You need to check it out to understand exactly what I am saying. A royal priesthood. I keep saying my website, our website, just the word.org. Sorry about that. But ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, and holy nation. Right? Unholy nation. Israel is the nation. A peculiar people. Remember, I promised that they shall be a peculiar people unto him above all people that is upon the face of the earth. All this is addressed to Israel, not to strangers. That ye should show forth the praises of him who hath called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. And there's a verse, it would give me a problem to find it right now, that says he created Israel to show forth his praises among the nations. Right? This royal priesthood is comprised of Israelites. All right? So, right there we see strangers cannot be priests. And we already established in Yeshayahu 14, Isaiah 14, verses 1 to 2, we are already established that Yahuwah will choose Jacob, will choose Jacob. All right? For Yahuwah will have mercy on Jacob. All right? And the people shall take them. Yes, we already bring through this, that this is what will happen to the strangers. But let us continue. We now have laid down all of this foundation so that we can look at an account in Torah an account in Devarim or Deuteronomy 29 that parallels what will happen to those who enter into the kingdom in the end time. Remember, we looked at Hebrews 10, verse 1, which tells us that the law is a shadow of things to come, but not the very image of the things to come. So we shall look now at the shadow that Deuteronomy 29 casts on what will happen in the end times. And for that, we go to verse 1. It's very, yes, this verse, this chapter is very, very revealing. Very revealing. This chapter. So, we go to verse 1. These are the words of the covenants which Yahuwah commanded Moses to make with the children of Israel in the land of Moab, beside the covenant which he made with them in Horeb. And we know that in Horeb, that was referring to the giving of the law. All right? 10 commandments and all. All right? So this is saying that there is now a different covenant that now is now being made. And what this points to, first of all, before we continue, and I'm saying this is very revealing, because the Messiah came, a lot of people, especially in Hebrew Israelites, are saying that we are not in the new covenant. All right? And the word New Testament clearly tells us that we are in the new covenant, New Testament in Yahusha. But here is the thing with the new covenant, because they are saying that the Messiah has not yet come back to gather us. Here is the thing with the new with the covenants now. Yahuwah makes covenants and then he seals the covenants. So when the Messiah came first, it is for us to make the covenant. Then when we make the covenant, okay, then we go through a process. Then after we go through a process, then we are ready to go into the kingdom. Same thing. When he made the covenant with them in Horeb, he took them through the wilderness. He took them through all different things. Now, this Deuteronomy 29 is when now they are ready to enter into the kingdom. So it's the same thing. He made the New Testament with us, the new covenant with us in Yahusha. Yahusha left us to sojourn. Then when he returns, we go to Ezekiel. There's a term that is used that matches this that is happening here right now. In Yechezkel, was it 20? I think, let me go. Let me see. Okay. The parallel for this is a prophecy of what is to come. And I will bring you out from among the people, and I will gather you out of the countries wherein you are scattered with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with few report out. And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face. All right, the same thing that happened in the children of Israel in Egypt, the same thing is going to repeat itself. But as it says in 10:1, Hebrews 10:1, it will not be the exact thing, it will be a shadow. It will play out in a different way, but it will actually be the same thing playing out. Like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Mitzrayim, so will I plead with you, saith Yahuwah Elohim. And I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant. This is what I want. I will bring you into the bond of the covenant. So we are in the new covenant in Yahusha, but there will be a time when he will bring us into the bond of the covenant. This is the same thing that is happening in Deuteronomy 29. They were given the Torah, they were given the law, and they were given that covenant. But when they were ready to enter into the promised land, then they had to make another covenant. They were now brought into the bond of the covenant that was made in Horeb. All right? Very interesting parallels here. And Moshe called unto all Israel and said unto them, ye have seen all that Yahuwah did before your eyes in the land of Mitzrayim unto Pharaoh and unto all his servants, and to all his land. The great temptations which thine eyes have seen, the signs and those great miracles. Yet Yahuwah hath not given you an heart to perceive, and eyes to see, and ears to hear unto this day. Right? So they were brought to the wilderness, but they were not brought into the bond of the covenant as yet. And I have led you 40 years. So from the time of Horeb unto now, this time in Moab, it was, what's wrong? You can lie down. Open it. Yes, my daughter isn't feeling too well, so I apologize for the break. So from the time of the children of Israel, the children of Israel received the Torah in um in more around Horeb, and until the time of this covenant in Moab, it was 40 years. So this is equivalent to the Messiah coming and the Messiah leaving and returning. All right? And I have led you 40 years in the wilderness. Your clothes are not waxen old upon you, and thy shoe is not waxen old upon thy foot. You have not eaten bread, neither have you drunk wine or strong drink, that ye might know that I am Yahuwah your Elohim. And when he came unto this place, Sihon, the king of Heshbon, and Og, the king of Bashan, came out against us unto battle, and we smote them. And we took their land and gave it for an inheritance unto the Reubenites and the Gadites and the half tribe of Manasseh. Keep therefore the words of this covenant, and do them, that ye may prosper in all that you do. Ye do. This covenant now is speaking of this covenant that he was making at Moab. Now, very importantly now, he's going to tell us who this covenant is with. Because in Horeb, he made the covenant with the children of Israel. Ye stand this day, all of you, before Yahuwah your Elohim, your captains of your tribes. Now he's giving us the order in which the order of, what should I say now? He's giving us an order, starting from the captains of the tribes, down to the elders, down to the officers, and their officers, with all the men of Israel. Right? Your little ones, your wives. All right? Those are all Israelites now. And then he goes now to the strangers, and it says, and thy stranger that is in thy camp. So, right, once again, thy stranger that is in thy camp, we therefore see that even though they join themselves to Israel, they do not become Israelites. They remain strangers. There is always a delineation, always a separation. The stranger that is in thy camp. And let's see what the stranger does in the camp. From the hewer of thy wood unto the drawer of water. So we see that the strangers who were among the children of Israel, the mixed multitude that was with the children of Israel, they were not equal to the children of Israel. They were servants of the children of Israel. Which is why in Yeshayahu 14:2, Amos 9:11-12, it tells you that the strangers shall be servants once again to the children of Israel. There is nothing new under the sun. Let's go to Ecclesiastes 1 verse 9. The thing that hath been is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. There is no new thing under the sun. Right? No new thing. The stranger is not going to be separate, not going to be subservient to the Israelites, not going to be separate from the Israelites and be subservient to the Israelites in Torah, and then now come in the new covenant and be equal with them in the kingdom. No, there is nothing new under the sun, because that will be something new under the sun, and there is no new thing under the sun. Likewise, there is no prophecy of the stranger now being equal with Israel in the kingdom. We shall see it. Let me continue. Right? So, we see that the stranger is described as thy stranger that is in thy camp, from the hewer of the wood unto the drawer of water. But the stranger shall be entering into this covenant. Right? And we shall see why. And we saw the reason before, but everything is just going to just be, in synergy. We're just gonna see that's how the truth is, Truth of scripture just gonna just work so much in synergy. Everything just matching and working harmoniously with each other. All right, we shall see. The and the reason I say this is if we are to take the other meaning that the strangers will be equal, it is going to clash with so many scriptures. I can just show scriptures at you and show the clash. Even all the scriptures that we are saying today, if we are to accept that strangers are going to be equal, believers in Messiah are going to be equal with Israelites in the kingdom, it's going to clash with so many scriptures. This is harmony. Follow me. Okay, so we have the stranger described here. Then it says that thou shouldest enter into covenant with Yahuwah thy Elohim. So it just spoke of all those people now who shall enter into the covenant. The captains of the tribes, the elders, the officers, the men of Israel, the little ones, the wives, and the stranger that is in the camp, who of course are the hewers of wood and the drawers of water. They are the servants. All right? That thou shouldest enter into covenant with Yahuwah thy Elohim and into his oath, which Yahuwah thy Elohim maketh with thee this day. A lot of people are saying one covenant, one covenant. No, you have a lot. You have one covenant, yes, but you have other agreements that are made. This is another covenant, is an agreement. This is another agreement that is made before going into the promised land. And this will happen in the end times when we will be brought into the bond of the covenant. Same thing. That thou shouldest enter into covenant with Yahuwah thy Elohim and into his oath, which Yahuwah thy Elohim maketh with thee this day. This is not speaking of the day of Horeb. This day means today. All right? That he may establish thee today for a people unto himself. All right? And now the person who is saying the strangers are equal might be salivating and saying, oh yes, they are now a people. But oh no, we shall see that they are not. It is not speaking about the stranger. Let's go. That ye may establish thee today for a people unto himself. These are Israelites, right? And that he may be unto thee a Elohim, as he hath said unto thee. Never promised to be an Israelite on Elohim unto strangers. And as he hath sworn unto thy fathers, to Abraham, to Yitzchak, and to Jacob. So this is speaking to the children of Israel. Today he's established them for a people unto himself. All right? But then he goes on to say that he's not only making this covenant with Israel alone. All right? So he's established that Israel now is his people. So it's a separation here that is being made in verse 13. So even though he's going to make the covenant with the stranger, it is a separation. Israel shall be a people unto Yahuwah. Verse 14, neither with you only do I make this covenant and this oath, but with him that standeth here with us this day. So who is he that standeth there with them that day? It is the mixed multitude, the stranger that sojourneth among them. All right? So this now, the Hebrew Israelites, this is something also that they have to understand. Although you don't like the Gentiles, although the Gentiles have punished you and they have done you so much harm, we cannot through our own desires twist the scriptures for our own benefit. Neither with you only do I make this covenant and this oath, but with him that standeth here with us this day before Yahuwah our Elohim, with the strangers, and also with him that is not here with us this day, also those who also will come to an understanding of the word. All right? But verse 16 tells us why he has to make this covenant. And it's very indicative of what is happening, going to be happening today. Because the reason that believers in the Messiah have to have, the reason that those who are in the kingdom with Israelites, who are strangers, have to be followers of the Messiah. This verse 16 is going to tell us why. Let me start at 15 and flow. But with him that standeth here with us this day before Yahuwah our Elohim, and also with him that is not here with us this day. For ye know how we have dwelt in the land of Mitzrayim, Egypt, and how we came through the nations which we passed by, and ye have seen their abominations and their idols, wood and stone, silver and gold, which were among them. Now here's the reason. Lest there should be among you man or woman, or family, or tribe, whose heart turneth away this day from Yahuwah or Elohim, to go and serve the gods of these nations, lest there should be among you a root that beareth gall and wormwood. Now, previously we saw that he told us that stranger, nothing shall come from the hand of the stranger to Elohim, because they have a blemish. All right? Their heart is not right. So here, once again, it is telling us why he had to make this covenant with the strangers, because lest they turn the children of Israel towards their idols. So they have to become into the bond of the covenant to ensure that there is recompense for them, so that they will fear and know that no, if they even have thoughts of going back to those idols, they would fear and say, no, I am not going to go back to those idols. I try to tell the children of Israel to go back to any idols. All right? So that is why the strangers who are in the kingdom, who cleave to Israel, have to be true believers, have to also be those who have been brought into the band of the covenant. I hope you are seeing the parallel here. Strangers in the end time cannot be equal to Israelites. They will be servants to the Israelites, but they will be true believers in the Messiah, because if they were sinful people who cleave to Israel and be servants to them, then these sinful people will eventually try to turn the children of Israel away from Yahuwah. And we see it time and time again throughout Scripture. Whenever and the law was made that which Israelites should not marry, give their sons to them or their daughters to them, lest they turn their hearts away from you and to their idols. We've seen that happening to King Solomon. Went away with strange women, and they turned his heart away from Yahuwah. This is the same thing. I am stuck here because I want you to see it. All right? And he goes on. And it come to pass when he heareth, that is a stranger, heareth the words of this curse, that he bless himself in his heart, saying, I shall have peace, though I walk in the imagination of mine heart, to add drunkenness to thirst. So, if the stranger is not brought into the bond of the covenant, when he heareth the words of this curse, he's going to bless himself and say, oh, I'm okay. I am not in this covenant. All right? Even though I walk in sin, and now among the children of Israel, corrupting them, nothing will happen to me. I am okay. So he will feel that he's okay corrupting the children of Israel. All right? The Most High will not have none of that. So the Most High says, Yahuwah will not spare him. But then the anger of Yahuwah and his jealousy shall smoke against that man, and all the curses that are written in this book shall lie upon him, and Yahuwah shall blot out his name from under heaven. All right? And we see that Yahuwah will bring curses to that person. So the stranger and any Israelite are all under the curses that are written in the book of the law if they try to go back into idolatry. Verse 21, and Yahuwah shall separate him unto evil out of all the tribes of Israel, according to all the curses of the covenant that are written in this book of the law. So that the generation to come of your children that shall rise up after you, and the stranger, so see it once again, it will be the Israelites and the strangers who are now going to be under the curses if they disobey. So that the generation to come of your children that shall rise after you, and the stranger that shall come from a far land shall say, when they see the plagues of that land and the sickness which Yahuwah hath laid upon it, and that the whole land thereof is brimstone and salt and burning, and that it is not sown nor beareth, nor any grass groweth therein, that the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah, Admah and Zeboim, which Yahuwah overthrew in his anger and his wrath, even all nations shall say, wherefore hath Yahuwah done unto us thus unto this land? What meaneth the heat of his great anger? Then men shall say, because they have forsaken the covenant of Yahuwah Elohim of their fathers, which he made with them when he brought them out of the land of Egypt. For they went and served other gods and worshipped them, gods whom they knew not and whom they had not been given unto them. And the anger of Yahuwah was kindled against this land to bring on upon it all the curses that are written in this book. And Yahuwah rooted them out of their land in anger and in wrath and in great indignation, and cast them into another land, as it is this day. Same thing is happening to us this day. Nothing has changed, nothing new under the sun. So the whole point to note from Deuteronomy 29, all right, that the strangers will be added to Israel, but they will also be brought into the covenant, and they will also go into the promised land. But they are also now under the bond of the covenant, so that they will not corrupt the children of Israel in the kingdom. Same thing there, shadow of things to come, same thing is going to happen in the kingdom. And so let us go back to Yeshayahu 14:12. Let's go back to where we started. Okay? Yeshayahu 14, no, 1 to 2. For Yahuwah will have mercy on Jacob. So let us now go back to this now and parallel it with what we have learned in Devarim 29, and we shall see it coming out that the strangers who join themselves to Israel will be servants. They will not be equal to Israelites. So people saying that, oh, it doesn't matter if you're an Israelite, it does matter, because if you're not Israelite, you're going to be a servant to Israelites. So it's your choice. You're going to rubbish your inheritance and say it is not important. Sorry for that error. You're going to rubbish your inheritance and say it's not important. No. Yes. Well, if you do, then you're accepting that you will be a servant. All right. Verse 14, verse 1. For Yahuwah will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Yasharel, and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Israel. Cleave means cling. It does not mean one being united. It does not mean become Israel. It means you are holding on to these people wherever they go. All right? Hang on to them for dear life. Because what will happen in the end time, the Most High will show such a great sign. It says, and all the nations shall know that you are mine. All the nations shall know that I am Yahuwah. He will do such a great thing in the end time that people will be so honored. The Gentiles will be so honored to be partakers, which is why he says that they will hold on to the skirts of him who is a Jew. In the end time, they will be so, the power of the Most High will be so manifest in his people. Just as what happened in Israel, in Egypt, and the mixed multitude hung on to them. So it will be in this time. The Most High will manifest his power so powerfully that the Gentiles now will be so honored, even just to associate themselves with Israelites. So that is why the believers now will be so honored to be associated with these people. The Most High is going to show so much that these people are my people, and they alone, that these people are going to be so honored. So, wow, these are the children of Yahuwah. I want to be with them. And they now are going to be prepared to even be the servants of these people, just to be with them. Which is why it manifests when David said, I'd rather be a doorkeeper in the house of Yahuwah. All right? This is what they will say. They'd rather be servants to them rather than not to be in the kingdom. Right? And so they will accept their roles of servant gladly, and they will not rebel in the kingdom. So there will be no problem in the kingdom. If the people who are in the kingdom now are unrighteous people, then it's going to be straight rebellion. Nothing but rebellion against the Most High. Nothing but rebellion. All right? Oh, I don't want to be a servant. I am used to ruling this world. I am used to being rich. I am used to being powerful. I'm not going to serve these people. Only a true set apart believer in Yahusha and who walks after the Torah of Yahuwah, only them will accept being servants to the Israelites in the kingdom as prophesied here. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place. The strangers now shall be taken in the kingdom, those who are in covenant. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of Yahuwah. And this land of Yahuwah speaks of the holy Mount Zion. Holy. It will be a holy place. There will be no place there for the unrighteous. For servants and handmaids, for servants, for slaves, in servitude. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. The children of the oppressors are those who are the strangers. All right? Because in Psalms 83, it actually tells us that the whole world has oppressed Israel, trying to let Israel be wiped off the face of the map. Because they know that Israel are his chosen. And they know that as long as Israel is down, then they will have rulership over the world, because that is how the Most High does it. Whenever we behave ourselves and walk in obedience to Him, then we are on top of the world. As long as we walk in disobedience to Him, then we are at the bottom, and the nations become rich and powerful and rule the world and rule us. So they know that if they continue the same trend where we are walking in unrighteousness to the Most High, we don't wake up, um, we are destroyed, then they will continue their rulership. So the whole world, they conspire against Israel to keep Israel down and keep them in disobedience. So they give them religions such as Christianity and Islam, which teach them to walk against Torah, to go against the words of the Most High. Christianity, law done away with. Don't have to believe the law. You don't have to keep his Sabbath. You don't have to keep his feast. You don't have to keep his commandments. You do whatever you want to do, or whatever your pastor says or your denomination says. These are abominable religions that are given us for us to keep in transgression. And that is why you have Gentiles, Edomites at the head of every single Christian religion. They head it, they lead it, so they keep us in unrighteousness. And this is also why you have things like the 501c3, where the government rewards religion, rewards the churches for existing. And which is why, like in our country, the churches are tax free. They serve the purpose of keeping us in servitude, in keeping us in bondage to the enemy. Right? It's no coincidence that the believers of old were persecuted, hated, killed. No coincidence that that was what happened to the believers, and the believers of today are rewarded with tax-free benefits. All right? They serve the purpose of the enemy of keeping us in rebellion against the Most High. All right? And if we also go now, here's another powerful scripture that I saved right until the very near the end to prove just what I just said. All right? I use this all the while. Amos 9:11. And notice it says it is speaking of the restoration of Yasharel, the restoration of Israel, the end time restoration of Israel. This is a future prophecy of today, days to come, the end times. All right? In that day, end time, when the Messiah returns, will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen? The prophecy is for a Messiah to come and restore the throne of David. And the prophecy is for the Messiah, Yahusha, being the son of David, the son by lineage, of David through Joseph, his father, all right, that he will come and raise up the tabernacle of David. In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof. And I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old. This is speaking of all Israel now being saved, of the whole house of Israel being united under the Messiah, Yahusha. Because what happened under David, the whole 12 tribe, the whole house of Israel was under one king. But of course, after Solomon went into sin, it was promised him that after his days, that um, the kingdom will crumble and be given into the hand of another. And so it was given into the hand of Jeroboam, who took the 10 tribes to the north, and Rehoboam took the 2 tribes plus the Israelites who served in the temple and who sojourned among Judah and Benjamin. 2 tribes are Judah and Benjamin. The other 10 tribes went north. So the split of the 12 tribes, this is what it is speaking about, the restoration. Um, um, in Ezekiel 37, it tells you about the 2 sticks, the sticks of Joseph and the stick of Judah, the house of Israel and the house of Judah now being reunited. That is what the Messiah is for, which is why the Messiah says, other sheep that I have that are not of this fold, which is speaking of Judah, them shall I bring in, and them is speaking about the Israelites from the house of Israel, who are now among the Gentiles. Plus, there will also be Gentiles in the kingdom, the strangers, who will serve as servants to the Israelites. All right? So, those are this is the unity. And the Messiah said, there shall be one fold and one shepherd. He shall rule them. This is what Amos 9:11 is speaking about. Raising up the tabernacle of David, going back to the whole house of Israel being together under one king, under the Messiah. All right? And after he has raised them up, guess what will happen? That they may possess the remnant of Edom. The remnant of Edom that will be left will be possessed by these people under the Messiah when the tabernacle of David will be again raised. That they may possess the remnant of Edom and of all the heathen which are called by my name. Now, this is what I am talking about. All the heathen, all the Gentiles, all the nations, all the strangers which are called by my name shall be possessed by the children of Israel. I want you to take a look at these verses carefully. Go and read it for yourself. The strangers in the kingdom shall not be equal to Israelites. They shall be the servants of the Israelites. Now, the importance of all the heathen which are called by my name. This is telling us that these are the strangers who are in the Messiah. Because only through the Messiah, right, can we be called by his name. Only through the Messiah can a stranger now be called by his name. So the stranger or the heathen, which is called by his name, okay, will be the possession, will be owned by the Israelites. All right? Hope you get it. Now, why was this not explicitly stated in Scripture? Why is it that the Apostle Shaul did not expound on it when he was speaking? And we're going to look at that. We're going to look at him telling us explicitly why he did not tell us. Explicitly, it is there right before our very eyes and we cannot see it. But until you do precept upon precept and come into the truth, then you'll be able to do it. And it was hidden for a specific purpose. In the end times, it was prophesied that the children of Israel would be in bondage. Okay? It was prophesied in Jeremiah 17:4, Jeremiah 17:4, that and thou, even thyself, children of Israel, shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee. All right? We shall not know who we are or who we were, right? We shall discontinue from the heritage that he gave us, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. This is what is happening to the children of Israel all over the world. And he gave the reason. For ye have kindled a fire in mine anger which shall burn forever. So he's angry, angry forever. And because of that, the children of Israel will not know who they are or what their heritage was. Right? So the Gentiles were, the Most High has one way of doing things, and this has never changed. Never changed. Whenever the children of Israel transgressed to the maximum, he placed them in bondage. When he placed them in bondage, he gave the Gentiles all the power and all the riches. He cursed the children of Israel and he blessed the Gentiles. That has always been the case. Always. And we have a fine example of that with Nebuchadnezzar. He blessed Nebuchadnezzar to the point where Nebuchadnezzar went to exalt himself. And when he went out and looked, and he said, "Look at Babylon, which I have built." And right away, the Most High banished him, turned him into like an animal-like existence, like a madman. All right? Why did the Most High do that? And he was there eating grass and everything until he came to the realization and the acceptance that it was Yahuwah who rules all things. So why did Yahuwah do that? Yahuwah did that to let him know that all the blessings that you have, it was I who did it. And until Nebuchadnezzar accepted that, then he was out of his mind. But when he accepted that, he came back to himself and came back into where he was. All right? So that is the Most High telling us that when the Gentiles are blessed, he is the one who blesses them. Why? He uses the Gentiles for the benefit of his people. So when the Israel are in captivity, in that captivity, they will turn to him. As long as we are comfortable, we will turn away from him. When we get uncomfortable, then we turn to him. So he blesses the Gentiles and takes away everything from us. One of the things that he takes away is the temple. Right throughout scripture, whenever the Gentiles are in rulership over Israel, the first thing they do, it seems, they go into the temple and they take out the things out of the temple. All right? The Most High gave them the things of the temple, the holy things. All right? In the temple. That is what has been done with our scripture. They have been given the scripture and given the belief that the scripture is theirs. Very important. They have the belief that the scripture is theirs. Because if they did not have the belief that the scripture is theirs, they would have thrown it away. Because it had to be preserved. The Most High wanted it to be preserved unto the end. So that when there is the awakening of the children of Israel, the scripture will be there, preserved. But the Most High in all his wisdom, I tell you, he's so wise. In all his wisdom, he knows that if the scripture is there, preserved totally 100% as it was originally, all right, then it will be too easy for his people to understand. Too easy. So he gave them religion and he gave them twisted translations. Through religion, we are taught lies. Through the twisted translations, the Gentiles place things in there to give honor and praise to their Elohim, to give honor and praise to their religions that they gave us, right? But the Most High in his prophecies told us, and we should have expected all of this, all right? They were allowed to pollute it Because in Yirmiyahu again 29:10, let's see why the Gentiles, why all this. When we get to understand all this, the scripture, everything will become so clear. Understand? Jeremiah 29:10. For thus saith Yahuwah, that after 70 years be accomplished at Babylon, I will visit you and perform my good toward you in causing you to return to this place. Now we are using this as a precept. What happened in Babylon? Because the children of Israel are still now in Babylon. What happened in Babylon will explain to us is how he does things. Because as it says in Micah 3:6, I am Yahuwah, I changeth not. He does not change. All right? And we see in Ecclesiastes that there's nothing new under the sun. All right? So, for I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith Yahuwah, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end. So this is why the Nebuchadnezzar was blessed, and why the Gentiles are blessed whenever the children of Israel are in captivity, because of the thoughts that he has towards us, good thoughts. But he cannot bring that good thought toward those good thoughts towards us while we are in sin. Then he says, "Then shall ye call upon me, and ye shall go and pray unto me, and I will hearken unto you." And now here it is. Here's why they were allowed to taint the scriptures. And ye shall seek me. While we are in captivity, ye shall seek me and find me when ye shall search for me with all your heart. So if everything was just ABC, everything was so simple to find, if they were not allowed to taint it, all right, then we would have no need to search for it. We would say, oh, there it is. Okay, that's it. We would not need to seek him and search for him with all our hearts. All right? It has to be tainted for us to search among him. So now we have to be seeking and saying, okay, the religion says this, just like we are doing today. The religion is saying that everybody shall go in. And I have to be seeking today. Could be here doing my earthly work. I have I am here now doing this video to explain to those who, like me, who are seeking truth, so that we shall find truth. So this is why they have been allowed to taint it. All right? Seek him with all our hearts. And when we seek him, here's what will happen. And I will be found of you, saith Yahuwah, and I will turn away your captivity. So there will be a seeking in this end time, and then we will find him. Right? So it is not saying that he will be there so easy, ABC, as their religion presents it. Oh, all you have to do is this, and they just tell you a few things. All you have to do is believe in Jesus. All you have to do is this. All you have to no, all you have to do. All we have to do is to seek him and search for him with all our hearts. Right? And then we will be found of him. And I will turn away your captivity, and I will gather you from all the nations and from all the places where I have driven you, saith Yahuwah, and I will bring you again into the place whence I caused you to be carried away captive. All right? So, and he said that because they have said Yahuwah raised us up prophets in Babylon. So, because um, the prophets in Babylon were trying to tell them things that the Most High did not say, just as we have today, the prophets of Christianity, Churchianity, other religions are telling us, directing us in a way, in a direction that Yahuwah has not led us. But he has to raise up the children of Israel in the end times in order to speak the truth. His truth will not come through strangers or nor through their religion, nor through their pastors or their bishops or whatever they want to call them or evangelists. It will come through Israelites, the children of Israel. All right? Uh, how will we seek him? I did a wrong. Oh, okay. So, as I was saying, that he will bring his truth through his people because the strangers cannot understand the scripture. It was not given for them to understand. All right? He says, a good understanding of all they that do his commandments. The strangers do not do his commandments. And to make it worse, let's just make it worse to show you why. Now, these people who have given us Christianity, if you're a Christian, you are being misled. All right? These people have not been given understanding of the word. And we're going to show you why. If they are not Israelites or looking through the lens of an Israelite, if they are not, have not accepted that they are Israelites and walking in the calling as Israelites, they will not accept the scripture. Why? If even if they are the descendants of the children of Israel and they are in that false religion, religions like Christianity and Islam, they will not be able to tell you the truth because they will be teaching another good news, another gospel. All right? They will be teaching lies. Psalm 47:19-20 tells us who can understand the word. He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. He hath not dealt so with any nation. And as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye Yahuwah. So, only to Israelites has he shown his word, not unto the other nation. So the other nations that gave you the other religions, Christianity, and all are trying to teach you and telling you these things. They cannot understand it. It is not given to them. You have to look to Israelites to expound on the words and tell you the truth. They don't even know his judgments. They have not known them. So how can they tell you them? So that is why they give you polluted religions, religions that tell you that the law is done away with. You don't have to keep this or you don't have to do that because it has not been given to them. So the Israelites now will tell you that, okay, we are Israelites, so we have to go back through the laws and the statutes and the commandments of the Father through faith in his Son, our leader, the King, the Messiah, Yahusha. That's what the Israel will tell you. But the Gentiles will tell you, you don't need to obey the Father. Which one makes more sense? Which one makes more sense when we look at Chizayan, Revelation 14:12? Tell me if the Gentile approach sounds better. Here is the patience of the saints. The saints, of course, are the holy ones. And we know from Hebrews 4:12 that seek ye peace and right and holiness, without which no man shall see Yahuwah. All right? So the holy who shall see Yahuwah are the saints. And let's see the description of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of Yahuwah and the belief or the faith of Yahusha. So we see what the Israelites are telling you, that you have to go back to the commandments of Yahuwah through the faith of his son Yahusha. All right? What they are telling you is the truth. All right? So a lot of us beat up on the Hebrew Israelites, but they are telling you the truth. The only thing is that they do not expound enough, in my estimation, from what I see in the Bible. They do not expound enough on the belief of Yahusha. All right? They do not expound enough on him to walk like him, as it says in 1 John 2:6. In 1 John 2:6, this is what they do not expound enough upon. He that saith he abideth in him ought himself also so to walk, even as he walked. This is very powerful. We have to be little Yahushas. We have to be like him, like our brother. We have to walk like him. All right? So this is what I believe what they do not expound upon enough, but they have it right. The Gentiles tell you this. All you have to do is believe in Jesus. That's it. Just believe on him. Don't know anything else. Um, yeah, they said Jesus and nothing else. Right? So what they're actually saying, only believe Jesus. But that is not what it is saying. It is saying that Yahusha and the commandments of the Father. So it's Yahusha and belief and obedience. Yahusha and obedience. Simple. All right? Now, we just looked at why the Gentiles were given the scriptures to pollute them. We are going to look now at the meat of the matter now. The most important thing that are going to be across our minds. Why didn't the apostle Shaul tell us that strangers will be servants? The strangers who believe in Yahusha will be servants. Indeed, there is nowhere in the New Covenant, in the New Testament, that tells us the role of the people in the of the stranger in the kingdom directly. But in the old covenant, it is all over it, telling you that they will be servants. All right. So we first like to establish a principle that in the kingdom they all will not be equal. All right. And of course, we have to hear it from the mouth of our big brother, our King, Yahusha Hamashiach. Verse 19, whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. There is least and there is greatest. That means all will not be the same. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. So there is great and there is least. Just want to establish that precedence before we look at why Shaul did not tell them, why Shaul kept it a secret. And for that, we go to Corinthians, Rishant, 1 Corinthians 9, verse 19. For that we start. For though I be free from all men, yet have I made myself servant unto all, that I might gain the more. The principle, made himself servant. Tell people what they want to hear, right? That's essentially what he's saying, right? He becomes subservient to them. And unto the Jews I became as a Jew, that I might gain the Jews. To them that are under the law, as under the law, that I might gain them that are under the law. The principle is saying here that he becomes something to everyone. So to the stranger, he becomes as a stranger. So as a stranger, you would not want to hear that your fate in the kingdom is going to be that of a servant, right? So he did not tell them that because he became as a servant. Here he says it now. To them that are without law, those are the strangers, because the law was given to Israel. To them that are without law, as without law. So he did not go and tell them now about the law that says that strangers cannot be priests and strangers will be subservient to those in the kingdom. All right. So he's explaining himself here that being not without law to Elohim, he is explaining himself. He says he was as without law, but he's explaining himself that he was not without law to Elohim, but under the law to the Messiah. In other words, he was saying that in order to fulfill the calling of the Messiah, he was like the stranger to the stranger, that I might gain them that are without law. So, in order to gain them that were not under the law, he did not go into the law and expound on what will happen to them, the unfortunate thing that will happen to them, because he knows that if you go and preach, what if I go to preach to people now and say to them, oh, there's a great salvation awaiting you. You shall, the children of Israel, you shall be with the children of Israel in the kingdom, and you shall be servants to the children of Israel. Does that sound like good news to the people? That is not going to sound like good news. And if Shaul had done that, then he would not have spread the good news as he did. All right? 9:22 says, to the weak I became I as weak. Yes? That I might gain the weak. So he became everything to everyone just for him to gain them, for the kingdom's sake, for the gospel's sake, and we shall see. I have made all things to all men that I might by all means save some. So whatever it is that takes any set of people to be saved, Shaul is going to do it. Whatever it is that's going to prevent them from being saved, Shaul is not going to say it. That is what he's saying here. That I might all means save some. That he might get all to believe in some of them to believe in the Messiah. So he would not want to tell them things that are going to reject, right? And in verse 23, there is the power now. And this I do for the gospel's sake, that I might be partaker thereof with you. So he did it for the good news. And we know that he spoke in Galatians 1, 2, 8 to 9 and tells us, if any man speak any other gospel, let him be accursed. Because the good news, the gospel, is given to us in Isaiah, in different places, but in Isaiah 61, explicitly. Let's go there, Yeshayahu 61, because we want to see what he did for the gospel's sake. We're going to use precept and show what he did by not telling these strangers what would happen to them in the kingdom. Yeshayahu 61. And the gospel actually means good tidings, glad tidings, good news. All right? So here, let's Yeshayahu. Here, Yeshayahu is speaking of the good news. The spirit of Yahuwah Elohim is upon me, because Yahuwah hath anointed me to preach good tidings, good news, right? Unto the meek. He hath sent me to bind up the brokenhearted. So this is what this is the gospel. And this is who the gospel is for. The meek. He hath sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to them that are bound, to proclaim the acceptable year of Yahuwah, and the day of vengeance of our Elohim, to comfort all that mourn. So we see that in that day, in the good news, has the day of vengeance of Elohim in it. And that day of vengeance is to comfort all that mourn, to appoint unto them that mourn in Zion, to them that mourn in Zion. So this gospel now is directed towards Israel. Again, everything in the Bible is directed towards Israel. All right? It is the strangers who have come and used religion to block our minds into thinking that it is about somebody else. So as long as you are in religion, you cannot understand the Bible. The Bible is about one nation, one set of people, and its relationship with other people, other nations who are around them. Simple. No religion. To appoint unto them that mourn in Zion, to give them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they might be called trees of righteousness, the planting of Yahuwah, that he might be glorified. So the trees of righteousness here, all of this is speaking about Israelites. All right? And they, the Israelites, shall build the old wastes. They shall raise up the former desolations, and they shall repair the waste cities, the desolation of many generations. All right. So this is what now we reach the meat of the matter. What what Shaul did for the gospel's sake. This is what he did for the gospel's sake. He did not tell the strangers what will be happen to them, because strangers are needed in the kingdom to do work, to be servants. Verse 5. And the strangers shall stand and feed your flocks, and the sons of the alien shall be your plowmen and your vine dressers. This is why the apostle shall did not tell them for the gospel's sake. This is necessary for the gospel, for the strangers to be the servants of the children of Israel. Verse 6 tells you the distinction now that will happen between the children of Israel and the strangers. Straight distinction. Now the strangers shall stand and feed your flocks, and the sons of the alien shall be your plowmen and vine dressers servants. Well, what will happen to the children of Israel? But ye, children of Israel, shall be named the priests of Yahuwah. And remember, we just showed and said that the strangers cannot be priests. The royal priesthoods are Israelites. But ye shall be named the priests of Yahuwah. Only Israelites can be the priests of Yahuwah. Men shall call you the ministers of your Elohim. Ye shall eat the riches of the Gentiles. The Gentiles shall be servants. And in their splendor shall ye boast yourselves. And he's telling us the reason why. It's all about this cycle of children of Israel being in punishment as they are now this day in bondage in Egypt and in Babylon, not the literal places, but spiritual Egypt and Babylon, as they are now this day, it has always been like this. All right? Punishment, then we are gathered. Punishment, then we are returned to the land. Cycle that never ends. And this is what will happen in end times. Which is why it says, I think in Jeremiah 16 or 17, when it tells us, it shall no more be said that Yahuwah liveth that brought the children of Israel out of Mitzrayim or Egypt, but Yahuwah liveth that brought the children of Israel from land of the north and from all where they have been scattered. It's the same cycle over and over again. So he's telling us why this will happen in the end time. For your shame, ye shall have double. This is the reason why the Israelites shall be the ministers and the strangers shall be servants. It is about a nation. Nation. For your shame, O children of Israel, you shall have double, and for confusion they shall rejoice in their portion. Therefore, in their land they shall possess the double. Everlasting joy shall be unto them. So the double is they will not even need to do any certain work because the strangers will do it for them. The strangers, of course, as we said, who believe in the Messiah. For I, Yahuwah, love judgment. There it is. This is righteous judgment. For example, look at today. I've said it before. The people who brought us through the slave trade, they have benefited immensely. Look at the land of the United States of America, the greatest nation on earth, they say. The most powerful nation on earth, the land of opportunity. These people have been flourishing from ever since. Flourishing from ever since. Their children have come and inherited. Their children, if their children want to be poor, it's because they want to be poor. Because of a system that has been inherited from the labor of the children of Israel that has made them rich. They have not suffered for it because they continue in their riches and their power and their rulership over the world. These are the people who have the clout over the world, who rule the world, who dictate what happens in the world. If you are not acting according to how they act, they come in your country and mess up your country. That's how they are. So they have not been judged for what they have done. So this end time is the judgment for them, the final judgment. So he says, I, Yahuwah, love judgment. This is why it's going to happen. I hate robbery for burnt offerings, and I will direct their work in truth, and I will make an everlasting covenant with them, a final covenant that will last forever. Now hear this. And their seed shall be known among the Gentiles. So there's again the separation again of the seed. Their seed, the seed of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Jacob. Their seed, the children of Israel, shall be known separate and apart from the Gentiles. The Gentiles cannot be Israelites. And their offspring among the people, all that see them shall acknowledge them, everyone, that they are the seed which Yahuwah hath blessed. And this is what I said earlier. Oh, how the word works in synergy and proves itself. This is what I said earlier, all right? That everyone, those who are believers, are going to see that these are special, set apart people, so much that they are going to be willing to be their servants just to be with them. This is why they will be servants. It's simple. The word does not contradict itself and cannot contradict itself. So now let me conclude. It should be definitively clear that the strangers in the kingdom must be the righteous believers in the Messiah. As it says in, let me see again. Let me go to 1 Corinthians 9, just to underline this, because I'm touching down, I'm summarizing here. 1 Corinthians 9, no, 1 Corinthians 6, verse 9 to 10. Know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of Yahuwah? This alone tells us that the strangers in the kingdom shall be righteous. Right? Those that cleave to Israel and who Israel will take to their place and shall be the strangers, they have to be righteous, because the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom. Right? And now, if we go to Yechezkel 47, so everything works in synergy, you know. When the truth is there, nothing contradicts. Everything just works and just flows oh so beautifully. Yechezkel 47. This is another verse with which the Hebrew Israelites will have challenged, because they do not try to accept the whole truth. Right? This is speaking of the division of the children of Israel in the end times. So shall ye divide the land unto you according to the tribes of the children of Israel. And it shall come to pass that ye shall divide it by lot for an inheritance unto you, and to the strangers, and to the strangers. So the inheritance is not going to be only for the Israelites, it's going to be unto the strangers that sojourn among you, which shall beget children among you, and they shall be unto you as born in the country among the children of Israel. And we just remember that we showed before that even though they shall be as born among you, there are still limitations in Torah for them. Never forget. They shall have inheritance with you among the tribes of Israel. This is what we want to follow. We're going to go back to this, but we're going to just finish this. And it shall come to pass that in what tribe the stranger sojourneth, there shall ye give him his inheritance, saith Yahuwah Elohim. So, there are some who teach that the strangers have no lot nor part in the kingdom. Nothing is further from the truth. They shall have inheritance among you, among the tribes of Israel. So let us get back to this inheritance now and see that, no, let me go back. Oh, back. All right. The unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom. So it is saying that these strangers who are unrighteous will not have an inheritance with Israel, as said, as stated in Ezekiel 47 the verses that we just looked at. Don't remember the exact verse. All right? So the strangers in the kingdom who will cleave to the children of Israel and be the servants, they are the righteous believers in the Messiah. Can't say it enough. Hope you get it by this. All right? And Amos 9:11 to 12 tells us even more that the heathen that are called by my name will be in the kingdom. And of course, the heathen that are called by my name have to be those who come to Yahuwah through belief in Yahusha and keep his commandments through belief in Yahusha. The righteous ones, believers in the Messiah, will be the strangers in the kingdom. And the strangers shall be joined with them are the holy believers in the Messiah, who shall cleave to them. All right? And Isaiah 14, 50, 61, 5 to 6 that we just dealt with, the good news of the strangers and the alien being your plowers and the strangers being your vine dressers, that confirms. And in verse 6, where it tells us, Isaiah 61, 6, where it tells us that but Israel shall be the priests of Elohim, shows us that there is a difference between the believers in Messiah and the true believers in Messiah who are actually Israelites. Strangers cannot be priests. We also looked at that through the verses in Leviticus. And Israelites only are going to be priests, as we looked at in um, Exodus and we looked at in 1 Peter 2, verse 9. All right? So it is quite clear that the strangers who join themselves to Israel will be those strangers who are not Israelite in the flesh, who are not the seed of Abraham, who are not of the lineage of Jacob. They will be servants. And so let us conclude with how we started. Alrighty. For Yahuwah will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Yasharel, will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. So the strangers, the unrighteous, cannot enter the kingdom. So these are righteous strangers, believers in Messiah, who shall cleave to the house of Jacob. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, bring them to Israel, to the kingdom. And the house of Israel shall possess, shall own them in the land of Yahuwah for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captive, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. All right? So, hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you got something from it. As I said, this video is part of a post on our website based on the topic, and the stranger shall be joined with them. What does this mean? I will post a link to the post in the description of the video. I will also post links to our website and links to our social channels, so you can join us and you can follow us. All right? Our channel, we have not had much activity on our channel because my emphasis has been on writing and not actually on producing videos. So um, subscribe to us. That will have to change, I guess, as um, I'm getting more comfortable in front of the camera. So I will not hesitate to make videos if so inspired. So subscribe to us if you have found value, and so that you will get future notifications of future videos that we put up. All right. And remember, we are at justaword.org. JUSTAWORD, justaword.org. Okay. Once again, shalom. And don't forget to subscribe. All right. Shalom. Bye. All righty.